And what's been fascinating as we've talked all the way through some of these topics is that it seems like we have groups of people, workers within our organisations that are at different stages, that are coming at it from different perspectives. I think let's talk for a second about how you're going to help all those people come at the adaptation at the same time. How do you guys get involved in coordinating that and making sure actually you're maintaining, everyone? How do you continue that collaboration and cohesiveness between people in the organisation despite being perhaps geography separated or even generationally separated? How does that work for you guys? Can we start with you, Darren?
So as I said, we've gone through these 3 waves of transformation, and a lot of it was driven from a sort of central function. And what we've found is that asking people to change, and they say, oh, it doesn't quite work, and then they look back into the centre and say, well, fix it for us. And we feel we're at a stage where that's not the solution. The solution is at the business end. So we've now created a network of people. So the digital transformation has moved from like some central driven thing to a more of a pool initiative. So we've got all of those people out there that are networked. They know the best solutions for either internal or external challenges, and they're driving it. So I think that's one thing, make it a business imperative rather than some central function. But the other, which we've touched on a few times, leadership is just so key. Right. So right from the very top level of the organisation, right down to the people managing the projects, they've got to believe and drive the solution. And that was, as the CDO, that was one of my big things, get the leadership on board, which wasn't hard at MacDonald because they understand the drive. But it was an interesting journey.
And Enrique, can we come to you? I mean, obviously you have a very diverse workforce separated by their function. How do you continue to maintain that everyone is sort of still staying, involved and consuming the technology that you're bringing to the market? Any specific challenges there?
Incredibly difficult, and similar to yourself, it has to be done locally. It has to be done by the managers, by the supervisors, the ones who want it. It cannot be done from the centre. It certainly cannot be done from IT.
So a consumption thing, and that's exactly what Darren was saying, is enabling consumption rather than forcing out change, perhaps.
I think also you need to be very aware of the culture of where you're putting in a solution. So we've all probably struggled with China as what do you do in China, because it's so different to the rest of the world.
Yes.
But equally, Southeast Asia generally, there's a whole host of different needs, if you like, from people in those regions. And so I think, again, you can't do it centrally and force out the same solution. You have to build a solution that can accommodate that type of flexibility.
We're taking possibly a sort of different sort of approach, because we're in 32 countries as Johnson Matthey. I've got sort of 5 IT centres, one in the US, 2 in the UK, 1 in Kuala Lumpur, 1 in Shanghai, and we're expanding big time in China, and proud to be doing it. And I think you're absolutely right. If the needs of somebody in Macedonia, Philadelphia, and Shanghai are going to be a bit different, and sort of will have different views on things because of where they come from. Similarly, somebody on a production line in Royston is going to be very different to a scientist in Shanghai or the UK with 2 PhDs who's working on pushing the frontiers of knowledge. So you've got to recognise that. But what we've tried to do is set up and this is enabled by technology, a consistency of how everybody thinks about the company in terms of the purpose. So we talk a lot about the purpose with some fabulous sort of graphics in terms of how we make the world cleaner and healthier. But in terms of trying to standardise, and you anybody who's global here will know how hard this is. The HR, conditions of employment are. So we've tried to standardise that, and we're about to roll out, or we've just started rolling out a global HR system in order to, facilitate that, so people feel that sort of equality of treatment, and things like the opportunity to take 2 of your working days and deploy them on a charitable purpose. So I'm very proud of my team in Kuala Lumpur, who we've got one of the global help desks plus second line support based in KL. That they took sort of food waste, which is a bigger problem in Malaysia as in the UK, and distributed it to the sort of poorer neighbourhoods in KL. So I'm very proud of them for doing that. So we try and have that consistency of treatment. Now that's only enabled by IT. That's about the whole company.
Of course. Great. So perhaps we could just finish off then. I mean, I'm fascinated that we talked about mega trends, climate change, rather than mobile working per se, which is great. Can we just talk for 1 second? Let's finish off and go around the table. What's the biggest problem/opportunity that you guys think you're going to have to deal with in the next 12 months? And you've literally got like a second to tell me what you think. Let's start with you, Mark, and then we'll work our way around. Biggest thing.
As in individuals.
Individuals. We're going to start here. Individuals.
You start there.
No, go for it.
Go ahead.
For me, a really, really important one is making decisions as to whether something is going to be a fad or a real thing. Right. Something is going to be. If you know about Gartner's hype cycle,
yes.
is in which direction something is going to go, and making decisions as to whether to invest in it or not invest in it. If you don't, you may miss an opportunity. If you do, you may waste your investment.
Right.
For me, that's
really,
a really, really important one.
Just identifying what is an opportunity and what is
versus
not.
What isn't.
Okay.
Versus what is hype. Yeah.
Great. Darren.
So I suppose similar. So our strapline for MacDonald Digital Ventures is connecting innovation to outcomes. So my big challenge is overcoming those barriers that block innovation. I think if we can do that, we're going to make a real
Right. So
difference.
2 not technologies at all, which is really fascinating. Dave.
I think it's about adoption, so reskilling the workforce, and getting them comfortable with the changes that are coming. I think that's the biggest challenge still.
Fascinating. Cool.
I talked about our sort of in-house innovation capability. It's how that we've got some fabulous proofs of concept, and it's how we get those into mainstream. So I've got one in a plant in Macedonia. I need that analytics tool to go global, and how do I get the great enthusiasm for people who developed it? How do I help the rest of the organisation adopt it and get the benefits?
Production. Right.
And I think it actually ties on to the question you asked before, but in terms of how do you make it successful? And again, going through the part of, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? And what's the benefit? I think if you can take employees on a journey that goes through that, because moving things to mobile, everyone has a mobile phone, or 98% of the world, or whatever the statistics are. But why are you doing it, and what's the outcome for the business? And I think, technology by itself, IoT, great, but why are you delivering it to deliver what outcome?
Yeah.
And how are you going to then make sure that delivers a business improvement, or whether that's top line revenue, margin, employee workforce? And I think sometimes we do see there's so much noise. I've just got to deliver this. Why?
Okay.
And then and then if you don't know, then actually the people that are in your organisation aren't really sure why they're having to use it either.
Great. That's been really fascinating. I'm so thrilled that we've been talking not about individual technologies, but about delivering and consuming change. So thank you very much, everyone. That's been really fascinating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.